Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today I went plus 282 in Legends with 5 triples, 1 time fail, and then 2 really bad fails. But that's just because I let my ward die and made some really dumb mistakes. Now, today I'm going to be focusing on how to get value from your Flame Flinger and get value from your Royal Champion in my Furnace army. Now, these tips also do apply to other um, Warden Walk and Warden Charge armies, but these tips, I mean, they are amazing and they're going to guarantee that you're going to get extra value from your warden, and you don't really cut away from the log launcher value that you normally would get. So anyways, I'm just going to hop right into the attacks and show you guys how to get value from these things. Alright, so on to the first attack now. So this base, right away you should see Clan Castle in the middle, and then poison spells on the outside with a diamond shape. Now, that means the Clan Castle in the middle is probably going to be your best value, so any of these defenses on the outside. And then as you move to the outside of the base to try and find Flame Flinger value, you're going to notice that the queen in here is a little further on the inside. So I'm going to be able to snipe off this scatter shot if I take out this this mortar. And then with the same Flame Flinger, I'm going to be able to get these 2 buildings on the outside. So that's going to be really good value as you're getting rid of 2 hiding defenses while also setting a pretty good funnel as you're clearing out this entire corner of the base. So that's what I'm going to opt for in this one. Now, you should never be scared to use some Rocket Loons on the entry of your Flame Flinger, as that's what they're mainly meant for. But in most attacks, you're going to end up just using them for your Warden Charge and setting up the Fireball. Now, a mistake I see a lot of people make is that they end up keeping their Rocket Loons for the end of the attack, and that's really not what they're meant for, as that's just going to kind of be useless, because your heroes are supposed to be doing the main amount of damage. So if you're using them at the end of the attack, that means you're using them to try and finish off the attack for you. So if you're doing that, you're likely going to end up failing, and you probably are already on the path to failing. Alright, so here I do use a Rage on the entry, and that's just because I want to be able to move through here a little faster, and I'm worried about that hero moving in and then dealing a lot of damage to me. So my Flame Flinger is almost done on that right side, almost through the first building. And as you can see, the funnel's being set really well, where it's going to allow my Warden to be placed up at this top side, and he's going to perfectly be able to funnel into this Town Hall, and then everything else is just going to work out perfectly. All I have to do is use his Rage spell as he enters in, and it's going to be a really easy attack. Now here, since I set that funnel on the left side with my Warden and Furnaces, I just have to set my King and Queen down here. And the good thing about using a Flame Flinger is most of the time you're going to end up using it on the opposite side of your Warden. So either side of the funnel, so either on the side of the Fireball funnel or on the side of the Flame Flinger funnel, you're going to be able to set your heroes in. And as you can see here, I just opted for going on the side of the Fireball funnel, but really it doesn't make too much of a difference. Now that Spirit Fox and the King, a lot of you guys have been saying that you should probably switch to something else, but this attack just shows how powerful it can be. Now it allowed my King to stay alive for a bit longer, which means he was able to move in further, and then was able to use the Spiky Ball and just take out all of those core defenses and deal a lot of damage to them. Now for the RC. So as everything moves in, you're going to use your RC on the back end, where there's a lot of exposed defenses on the outside. So here I was able to take out the Crusher Mortar, the Monolith, and then a bunch of these other defenses on the outside. So I was able to do a great amount of damage, and my Warden probably would have died if I didn't snipe off those defenses. Now another mistake I see a lot of you guys make is that you send in your RC right next to your Warden. And if you do that, what that's going to end up dragging your Warden with your RC, which means the healers aren't going to be able to heal him, and your Warden's going to go down. So that's going to be the biggest reason for a fail on your attack. So just make sure to place your RC on the back end of the base, far away from your Warden. On to the next attack now. Alright, so on this attack, it's another diamond-shaped poison base. I mean, these are really common in the top 1k and top 500, so, most of my attacks are going to be against these style of bases. But right away, you should see great fireball value on this right side. Oh, and then over here, great Flame Flinger value as well. And that's just because this hero isn't going to be able to reach the outside of the base, and then also I'm able to take out 2 core defenses, and then possibly a third with the spell tower, but depends whether my Flame Flinger gets dragged over there. But as long as you can get 2 core defenses, that's really all that matters. Now on this right side, my main goal is to fireball this air defense, and that's because if I do, I'm going to be able to get down all of these defenses in this compartment, and then I'm also going to be able to get down the clan castle, which is the main target for most of your fireballs. Now, unless your clan castle in the attack is isolated somewhere in the core with only like 1 defense near it, I wouldn't recommend. But since right here you have 3 main defenses that you can hit, definitely go for that, because that's going to be the best value. Now, I could have gone for a fireball up here onto the multi-archer tower, but the clan castle just speeds up the attack so much, because you don't know whether there's ice golems in there, or furnace or headhunters that can potentially be a threat to your warden or heroes. So it's always better to just take that out when there is extra value near it. Now again here, you can see I get great funneling value, as all of these defensive buildings on the outside set a great funnel for my warden. Now here I do make the mistake of recalling my warden, and I do end up missing a few healers, so that really messes up the attack. But as you can see, I don't let that stop me, and I just continue on as I am going, but I just have to keep an extra eye on my warden. Now another mistake I see a lot of you guys make, and that is stacking up your furnaces. So here, I make sure to spread my furnaces out so they don't really get on top of each other and take away from each other's value. So that really helps out in speeding up the attack and making sure you don't leave garbage buildings on the outside. Now again, on the outside, I use my RC to help clean up all of the buildings that are going to be hard for my warden and furnaces to get to. So these multi-infernos are the biggest threat to your furnaces. I say that every video, but it is so true. If you leave those multi-infernos up for the end of the attack, it's just going to wipe out all of your furnace mites right away, and you're not going to be able to get to that with the furnaces. So that means all of these buildings would be left on the back end for your warden, since that's the closest to the outside of the base, and you can't really place your furnaces there. So it's almost always going to lead to a fail if you leave your multi-infernos up, and most of the time they are in the core, so it's just a really bad situation when you do leave them up. So that's why you want to use your RC onto the core of the base. So on to the next one now. So the first thing I'm going to notice in this base is that it isn't really a diamond shape, but it still is a double poison. I also noticed that I can't really get the clan castle with a fireball, so I'm going to have to end up fireballing one of the outside compartments. And I see that this poison tower on the expo, that's a really good fireball. And there isn't really many heroes that are going to be a threat to my warden, so either side is going to be a good placement for him. Now I do notice I get really good Flame Flinger value, and that's because there was only 1 defense that could have sniped my Flame Flinger right away, and then the only thing that I have to worry about now is the Expo and the King, and otherwise I'm going to be able to get down 3 core defenses and set a really good funnel. Now the funnel is probably the second thing you're going to want to make sure you get with a Flame Flinger. The first thing is, of course, the defenses, and that's always going to be aiming for at least 2. If you can only get 1, you really want to make sure the funnel you're getting is what you want and what you need. Otherwise, the value from the log launcher is probably going to be better value than your Flame Flinger. So always check for 2 defenses to snipe with your Flame Flinger, and make sure to send at least 1 rocket balloon in front of him to test. And that's just because if there's any any traps, you just want to make sure that he doesn't die right away. Another thing I also usually do is send a furnace right behind him, and that's just so if there's any skeleton traps, I can always get rid of them. And that's the probably the best way to trap your Flame Flingers, and that can really end their lives right away. As you can see right here, I didn't have a furnace behind him, so he ends up going down, but luckily that was at the end of his life, so I still got really good value. Now the CC troops, a lot of you guys also say that the CC troops aren't going to get value at the end of the attack when you're using a Flame Flinger, but as you can see here, they really do. They're able to take out the defensive king, and that's just really good value especially when you're going to use your RC there. Now here, I do let my Warden die, and that's going to lead this attack to being a fail, but if I kept my Warden alive, this surely would have been a 3-star, as I have 5 spell space left. I still have my RC to use, which I'm using on the back end, of course. And, this attack really would have been good. Now, if my Warden was stayed alive, I would have ended up placing my RC on this left side, and that's because the value I would have gotten is much better. However, I wanted to make sure my healers didn't go down, and I actually got some value from them. Now, if I did use my RC on this left side, I probably would have placed her in this bottom left corner, which means she would have gotten down all 4 of these defenses with a rocket spear, moved in. My Warden would have moved in on the right side, and of course, this is the best because it's keeping your RC away from your Warden, which means she's not going to drag him away until the very end of the attack. Now, I ended up this attack with 2 spell space left, which, if used right, would have definitely helped my Warden stay alive and move this attack to a 3-star and not an 87% 2-star. So on to the next one now. Alright, so up against another double diamond poison base. Now, these bases are way too common, but just what you gotta deal with. So right away I see 2 giant cannons that get insane value. I can get the CC down, Multi-Inferno down, Fire Spitter, and then a Poison Tower. So really good value, and I also will get damage onto a Scatter Shot depending on when I use the Fireball. So in general, really good value I can get from that. And I also see that on that right side, I have the RC, so I know that's the side I'm going to be sending my Warden in on. Now, if you do want more tips, remember to go to my last video. Now, over here, I noticed that I can get some good Flame Flinger value. That's because if this Expo goes down, I can get down this Scatter Shot, and then I can get down the Multi-Inferno with a Flame Flinger. However, that's not really going to work out in this attack, and I do have to adapt over to a Log Launcher, and I just have to deal with my wasted Rocket Balloons. Now over here, my Warden's progressing nicely. However, I do have to watch out because I have to make sure that when my Warden enters the area of the Scatter Shot, that he's not going to go down, and I have to just be ready for a Rage spell to be used, as if there's any traps, like a tornado, that definitely would have stopped the healers from being able to heal him fully. So it really would have, it's very beneficial to keep an eye on your Warden when you're entering a high damage area. Now, if you guys want to see more videos with this Furnace army, or just tips for Fireball armies in general, remember to subscribe to my channel, and then check out my older videos where I have a lot of tips on deciding how to Fireball an area, and just how to use this army in general. And I will be making sure to post more. I'm hoping to be able to post 2 videos a week, maybe even more, in the future. So over here, I make sure to set my Queen on the left side, and then Log Launcher on the very back, and then everything else is now going to funnel in. And I also use that poison on the minion prince. And in most of these attacks, when you do take down that clan castle, it's going to be better, instead of using the poison on those furnaces, to end up using it on that minion prince, as he's the highest hitting hero, and really only your queen can take that on this army. So it's really good to just poison him, and then maybe even send in a headhunter on the back end, just to make sure he goes down right away. Now here, I do take down that town hall with my Warden, and then I send him back up to this top, and now RC can be sent in on that back end, and I do use a invisibility spell here, and that's because the Monolith can actually outrange your RC when she's using the Rocket Spear. So if you don't make her invisible, she definitely can take a lot of damage, and depending on how high the health of the Monolith is, she might even be able to go down and end up wasting a few Rocket Spears that she has. So definitely always watch out for that. And here, this just shows some of the value that I can get from the Phoenix. A lot of you guys say, you don't think the Phoenix is going to be getting good value, but here, I get down the Defending Queen, which is a really big threat to my Warden, and then I get down some of those outside defenses, so my furnaces can deal some extra damage. And then, this was just a great attack all around. I was able to adapt from wasting my Rocket Loons, and being set on using the Flame Flinger, and that's something that a lot of these Fireball armies can't do. A lot of them are set in stone on using the Flame Flinger, and if you're not able to find value, you you're most likely going to fail. So, this attack just shows its versatility and, its reliance on not using the Flame Flinger. So, anyways, I'm going to just hop into the end of the video now. Alright, so those attacks are going to bring me to a plus 282 day today, and I didn't really do too well on defense either, going minus 270. I mean, that's alright, but definitely those first two attacks in my day are what's bringing me down, and I was trying to do some live commentary, however, that didn't really turn out how I expected, so I don't think I'm able to do that for at least a week or two, until I can figure out how to exactly commentate and attack at the same time. But, I hope these attacks and guides are working well for you guys. Remember, I will be posting more in the future, so stay tuned for those videos. And also watch some of my older ones, as those ones I feel are definitely helping a lot of other people to get plus 320 days in Legend League. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.